tonight's meeting of the Armada Village Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. You want to take the roll?
Shaw?
Here.
Clark?
Here.
Cronin?
Yep.
Adair? Here. Belton?
Here.
And Barzak? Here. Stewart is absent.
Yes. So you've got the agenda before you. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Are there any citizen comments?
There sure are. Hi, I'm Carolyn Sweeney. I'm the president of the Armada Area Chamber of Commerce, and I also own Scrollblade Books, and I'm also a resident. We are here to talk about the special event permit for Armada Gaddon, which we are planning for October 12th. And in case you're not familiar with Armada Gaddon, I have some pictures you can pass around to show what a tremendously good time we had. The purpose of Armada Gaddon is to showcase the wonderful things that downtown Armada has to offer. So we're going to do a 5K run. It goes from church to the trail to Omo, back up to Ridge, back to the library and church. Then we have a street fair where we have have the street from we started bringing in the vendors at 10. From noon to 6 we have a street fair including the Detroit Circus, who's going to do an aerial act, DJ, music, games. The downtown businesses are all doing something. From Armada in Michigan is going to do their Pinewood Derby. Main Street Chiropractic is having a Pokemon event. Most of the businesses are coming out on the street, as well as having vendors, games. We're going to have a bouncy castle. It's going to be so much fun. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a ping pong ball drop. It'll allow everybody to stay in the downtown area, look at the shops, and then at 7 o'clock, we have a lighted parade. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about our event. It is an incredible amount of fun. These are my fellow chamber members who are all excited to do it. If you want to know who I've all talked to about making sure that everybody's on board with it, I talked to just about everybody, including Park Electric is going to let us use their parking lot for our vendors, so we aren't taking any extra space from people who are around. We will have additional parking at the schools, and we'll have extra signage out for where people can park as we arrange it. And again, if you have any questions at all, we are happy to answer the questions. But we've done, this will be our 11th one. It should be the 15th annual one, but we've taken a little hiatus. It's such a good time, and people have been really clamoring for us to bring it back.
We've got this on the agenda, so we'll be discussing this the first item under new
I saw that.
business.
Yes, and if you have any questions
So
at all, any
that's where
concerns.
that's where questions and answers would come in.
Okay.
She's available.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
Sam Belkey, 73715 South Fulton, and I own the We the People hall in the corner. I just wanted to say I've been working on the parking situation, and the committee's about ready to issue a report. So we'll keep you posted.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak? Okay. Being no further citizen comments. There's no presentations. Administrative reports.
We didn't get the DPW report.
Right.
Okay.
That was last meeting. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's what we use here.
That
So-
one got dropped off.
Well, I know who will have a report. Ross?
I got a quick one.
Oh, okay. Steve?
The Salt Dome, Dave Wagner, our DPW supervisor, reached out to the supplier of the dome part of it and asked a few questions, showed him some pictures on how we're not real happy how the back corner wraps
Right.
around. and he said they would send somebody out to try and fix things a little better. But he did say that it'd still be covered under warranty. And after Dave to get some paperwork to that effect, so that we're all covered, should something happen, we'll have something in writing. So it's still in process, and I'll let you know when it gets handled.
Okay, yeah, did it say how long the warranty was?
I don't know it offhand, I will check into that.
You know, and you guys might wanna take a look at it, if you go to the back, not the front, but the back of the dome and the two corners. Doesn't mean it wouldn't still work really good, but it just looks a little unfinished there.
Yeah, it's kind of got a couple of puckers in it, it doesn't wrap tight like you would wrap
Yeah.
a package. So, again, I'll update everybody when we find out more.
Okay, anything else, Steve?
Nope.
Ross?
I've been spending a lot of time lately compiling and sending information requested by contractor Rowe for our water reliability study. Doing the same for contractor WSP that's doing our wellhead study. Sent them a map today, and this is where I may need to get you involved, of the larger open available parcels that the village owns. Most of them already had wells on them, and so they may be asking, why did that particular well go bad, or why did we shut it down, that type of thing. And you have the historical knowledge on it that I don't. So they're focusing their attention on working on those two studies. With respect to those kinds of issues, village council president asked me to pull together a list of various reports and activities that I work on and perform related to the water department. These are generally things that I consider out of scope for F&V. They weren't put into the F&V contract, and I just personally believe that they may be beyond the ability of the DPW with the current manning and activities to really get involved in it. So, with my apologies to Dave, because I said I would have it tonight, I've just not been able to get it with those other two things I've been working. It's a lot of information, so I'll have it at the next meeting. It's just going to be a laundry list of all the various reports
Can
and.
you put that in writing in the next
well,
meeting?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I'll have a physical list.
Okay.
What I had asked of Ross, and really, you really jumped on it fast, was just those things that he does. I mean, we might not always have Ross there.
Either.
So we need to know what you're doing. Also, I'm hoping that a lot of the things you do, we can bring the DPW supervisor into to start doing this. We freed up a lot of time with F&B, so it's just something, so we have an idea. I know you're doing a lot of things, so.
I've always intended to get to it, I've just,
Well,
it's always something else, so I've never had quite the time to compile that list. It's sizable, but some of it's easy and some of it's difficult. I mean, just doing just pulling together the laundry list of things that Roe has asked for the reliability study. To make sure it's accurate, I gotta get them current information. And so that's current maps, and it's current pumpage reports, it's current this and that and the other thing. And so it just, I don't think any of it's necessarily very hard, and some of it is yearly or seasonal. I mean, the lead service line, once we get through that, you may not.
that's why I like to get Dave involved in this.
Yeah, well, he definitely gets, we sit down and talk on that stuff that he's gotta have a hand in, but some of the other Corp reports and some of that is, he is not involved. So I will
Plus,
hold that.
the rest of us don't have a good idea. You may wanna change conditions sometime. You've had this a long time.
I'd love to do something else. I might have told you at the last meeting, I don't recall, but we did put a grant request into the Rails to Trails Conservancy to get our hard stand trail connection in, and got a rejection letter a week ago or so. I feel bad, but I don't feel too bad. They said they had $200,000 to give out, and they received requests for $3.2 million. So they got to pick and choose, and they probably picked somebody bigger and for the bigger taxpayer.
Well, Ross, on that, you wanted to pave it from the
Essentially,
trail to
Depot
Depot
Street.
Street.
Yeah,
There's a parking lot there now.
there is.
I mean, there's no reason people can't ride over it, you know?
No, they can't, but it's not full access, which is, there's a number of issues. It's not full access, so if you have a wheelchair or you have ambulatory issues, you would have a hard time getting across that. Technically, the trailhead is over by Larry's, but I think most of Larry's guys use that to park. And that has the same issue, although it's a smaller amount of gravel. This trail connection was something Chamber wanted to do, because as a part of that, you could promote village and township businesses. Putting that connection in allows us to connect with the village park and the township park, which makes a linear park. That's the whole Joe Javera, why he was in here, we were trying to do that. There's a number of different reasons. The good news, if anything, is I did, as part of the doing some of the grant work, get a couple preliminary cost estimates, and I was told that it was gonna be about $40,000.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, just to pave it from,
Well, what we were able to find was the trail's engineering specification, and so it indicates how we have to build it. The easement that we have with Macomb County to do it, turns it back over to them once it's in, so they maintain it into perpetuity. We don't, we just gotta get it installed. But to build that, you gotta strip away the first layer of dirt or two, you gotta put in limestone, you
kind of
pave
have to
it.
define the area.
Yeah, and it's, so the cost we've got now is about $24,000, which seems a lot more appropriate than the $40,000. And again, when we've talked this for several years, but it was never, we were never gonna pay our village funds. This had to be grant money to put it in, because it's, given the other infrastructure issues, it's a nice to do. It's not a gotta have, but it would be nice because it does some of the things that we were talking about. It's a safer way to get on the trail than where we have the current trailhead and so on. I see near misses down there all the time. Surprised we haven't had an accident. Anyway, we didn't get it, but there are other opportunities, and that's one of the things I have the grant writer looking at. Finally, maybe the most important of all of this stuff right now, I'm working to complete, Amy, I'm kind of talking to you, the quarterly financial status report, so you probably have one related to the street construction that's out there that you have to do. Doing that paperwork for the Eagle TMF grant, Technical Managerial Financial Grant. That's the grant money we received to do lead service line verification. So it's, we think we have a lead service line, but we don't quite know. We're gonna verify it. For anything that we didn't suspect was lead or galvanized, that money wouldn't work for it. So we had to be careful about how we used it. We talked about the hydrovacking that we've done over the last couple months. We've spent most of that money now, and I gotta put in that report to get the money back. Could do it in January too, but I'd like to get the money sooner rather than later, and so we're requesting $55,600. We got a little under $6,000 left to spend, and most of that's engineering for follow-on work that it allows us to do. So I just got that back today saying, that's wrong, fix this, do that. So I gotta get on that, that has to be in by the 1st of October. So I'm pushing on that, trying to get that done. That's what I got.
thank you. Any other reports? Well, they started working on that street, First Street they're working on over there.
And as far as I know, it's going fine, that's what I've heard. If you didn't hear anything, good thing.
So,
Good news.
you said you didn't have anything, Mike?
We didn't have any planning commission.
Okay.
They didn't have an agenda,
So, our consent agenda, which includes the minutes, payment of the bills,
Oh, and another, special event permit.
and Knights of Columbus Four Corner fundraiser permit. So, what do you guys, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Belkey, supported by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's
I do
approved.
wanna point out that the Knights of Columbus, they're doing their Tootsie Roll,
Yeah.
thing, it is the same weekend as Armada Academy, just so you know.
It's gonna be a busy weekend.
Yeah. They should get a lot of money. Yeah.
But, you know, they shouldn't bother you, I don't
No, they're
believe.
just on
No,
the floor.
no, they just-
More than merrier.
Yeah, they just won't be
Hopefully
able
we'll
to
bring
do
in more
one
people for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could help them. Okay, no old business, moving on to new business. And our first item is the special event permit for the Armada Chamber of Commerce. Now,
Usually these go under consent, and the only reason that it's not was because, you know, we've had some discussions, so.
I get
Yeah.
that. If you have
Yeah.
any questions at all,
Yeah.
I think I
She's
alleviated
done.
everything, but if you have anything, sock it to me and
Okay.
so just to be clear, you're requesting to have, the downtown,
Main Street from Fulton to Church/Burke,
yeah,
from noon to, it'll be, I guess, 8 o'clock because,
Yeah.
whenever the parade is.
till when the parade
Yeah,
ends.
yeah, which is
Okay.
between 7:30 and 8.
So, are there any council questions here? You know what the chamber wants, I know there's been some people who did not want that road, closed down. There was a suggestion that it goes on Church Street, but again, what do you guys, want and?
Just a couple comments. So I did go down and I talked to Carolyn about it, and just generally so the group knows, I've not been generally in favor of closing down Main Street for a while. Ever since I had the sesquicentennial event, which did not work out so well because it became very cold and blustery that day, it really sandbagged everything that we had. It started out great, and by the end of it, there were one or two people out there and the band was still playing and they were freezing. So I've watched these, and so I've encouraged Carolyn and the group to think about trying a couple other locations. But in talking with Carolyn, she's done her homework and she's showed me her little black book. It's a brown book. It's kind of a green book.
Dragon book.
Yeah, and she's ticked off names of everybody she's gone and talked to. Some people haven't wanted to talk to, but that's very few, I think. They don't want to talk. But in any case, she's done her homework. She's done planning for additional parking, so that seems to alleviate that. We're at the mercy of the weather, and it sounds like you've also done some preparation for vendors to have sandbags to hold tentage down and what weather gear, and stuff's not gonna get canceled just because there's a little drizzle. So I think they've done their work, and so I was encouraged to see that. I think it'll be okay to do as long as there's not a tornado. Again, I just,
Jeez.
Don't say that out loud.
I'm not hoping for one.
Say it.
Not
Say
hoping
it.
for one.
If you say it'll be sunny and beautiful.
I take it back, I take it back. But I don't see a reason not to at this point in time. We just hope for good weather.
Now, Carolyn, because we had spoken, you had said about the vendors going in the parking. Are they gonna park in Park Electric, or are they gonna
The
actually set up?
Okay, no, the vendors are going to park there, so it won't take up any of the municipal lots or the overflow parking we had arranged in other
Okay.
areas. And it was very generous of them, they were,
Okay, so the vendors are gonna be lined up
Yeah.
somewhat on,
yeah, the vendors will have tents on Main
Downtown.
Street.
On Main Street.
Yeah, just like they have in years past.
Now, you got this aerial act, right, you said?
Yeah, they're bringing in 20 by 25.
So
by
you know, you
25.
gotta have the insurance on that.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, they have insurance for their business, we have insurance for the chamber, so.
Could
That
they,
is not
could they
gonna-
add the village on as additional insured like we have you guys do?
No, they're part of us, so it'll be under our insurance. I don't,
Okay. Let me,
that's-
yeah, let me talk to our attorney about it,
it,
but I think you're right, but
Yeah,
just let me
it's-
verify.
I mean, cause they're a hired performer, and they do this for GM and they're,
But if something happens, the municipality is the first person they sue.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are covered under our insurance,
Okay.
it's,
Okay,
um,
alright,
I mean, I can ask them, but
It's okay, don't do anything until I talk to Jeff, if I need to reach out to you, I will. But
So-
I think you're right, I think.
So you list every vendor that you would insure on your insurance?
It's not the vendors, it's an act like
Or
that
the
that
act
would
of the
concern me.
entertainment that
I
comes?
mean,
Yeah.
normally we don't, but it's
So
all
we never
part
get
of our
that
event.
that way.
So-
Let them bring their insurance in.
We have a special writer for our event that understands that we have entertainment, and it was listed when we got the insurance
Your
writer,
endorsement.
that was
Okay.
something that we were gonna do.
Okay, alright.
I've got a question. Are any of the vendors selling food, or is it strictly craft or?
Right now, it's all crafts, but
Okay.
we aren't gonna have any food trucks.
We don't
Okay.
allow
They're-
food trucks. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure nobody was taken away from our local people selling
That is the
food.
furthest thing that we want. We
Okay.
want
Right.
all of our downtown businesses to make bank.
Yeah.
We want everybody to be happy. We've been encouraging our restaurants to have extra specials, like Cozy's gonna have a special caramel apple cocktail, and ABG's is doing something, and,
Okay. All right,
Tiger's Den and Subway has even joined, the chamber just so that they could be a sponsor of this event.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other council questions? Well then, we need a motion.
The first one.
I'll make the motion that it be resolved to approve the special event permit application from the Armada Area Chamber of Commerce on October 12th, 2024, between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. to hold Armada Geddon events allowing the closing of Main Street.
Allowing the closing.
Support.
Okay, motion by Shaw, supported by Clark. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Woohoo! Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving on. Approval of our zoning ordinance amendments. Just as a review, we had those zoning ordinance amendments last meeting.
Yeah, public hearing.
Jeff, we had the public hearing. Jeff, kinda give us the go-ahead last week. But they want, they want to look at it a little longer. You've had another 2 weeks. And now, are we gonna pass this or not?
You got a motion.
Yeah, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion that it be resolved to adopt the ordinance amending Articles 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 13, 17, 19, 22, 23, and 24 of the village zoning ordinance.
Support.
Do we have a roll call?
No,
on
we
this?
don't need
I do have some comments, so.
Yep, go ahead.
So ZBA Chair Dennis, you can't be here tonight, he's got, he intended to be, but he's working at the food pantry, so he's got that commitment. I would say Dennis, I, as the secretary, and on behalf of the zoning board, we appreciate that 7 out of the 10 recommendations we gave have been incorporated under Jeff's letter. A little disappointed that the remaining 3 were not. 2 of those we specifically had issues with on zoning, and we needed clarification. Now, I respect Jeff's opinion. I disagree with his assessment. I think he misunderstood what we were trying to do. And the problem for us is this letter came into the office. I was not aware of it, Dennis was not aware of it, so we would have had some time to get with Jeff and talk to him, but didn't know it was even here. On Friday I asked, sent a note over here at 10 o'clock and said, have we gotten anything? Because I hadn't seen anything, and I didn't get a response back. So these guys are busy making the packet, so they may not have had a chance to look at it. I think all three of them could have been easily cleared up, and if you've read Jeff's note, he suggests certain things in there that we are not trying to do. We would have been happy to talk to him and come up with better language to clarify. I'm just going to use the third one as a case in point, talks about signage. Heck no, we're not trying to keep people from coming in and appealing an abandoned sign decision. The problem is the zoning ordinance infers that the zoning board of appeals are the guys that go out there and make an abandoned sign determination. We don't want that. We're not the enforcement agent. We want the building inspector or the code enforcer to do that. And we spent a couple meetings 4 years ago, maybe it's 5 years ago, I don't know, I've been on zoning for 10 plus years now, going over that and trying to figure out who's in charge, because it's not us. Somebody needs to bring it to us, and so we were specifically trying to fix that. Jeff's takeaway was that we're trying to prohibit people from coming in and appealing. No, we're not. We just want to figure out who's supposed to tell us that it's an abandoned sign.
Well, you
And-
can't make any decision on it.
You
So
can't?
they come and appeal.
Pardon?
You can't do anything anyway until an applicant comes and appeals and says.
That's true, but somebody needs to determine that a sign is abandoned or not. And
Right.
remember, we had several signs in the village that were sitting out there without any copy in it, lights falling out of them and stuff like that, and they were there for years until finally we did something about it. But the issue was, who determines it? It shouldn't be the zoning board of appeals, it should be code enforcer or building inspector. That's all we're
We
doing.
do have a motion.
I do, the point is, it's communication. So we submitted a letter on all of this stuff back in January of 2023. We never had anybody communicate with us. And again, I'm not trying to point fingers, but we could have resolved all this stuff easily, and it could have been in the copy for the first go-around a couple weeks ago if that communication had been made. It's just a bad message to the zoning board of appeals and the people that are working on that we didn't get the consideration that we thought. Now, some of it's been fixed, but we're gonna go and probably pass this thing with several areas that we wanted to get fixed that are issues for us not being fixed. And so the guys that need the fixing aren't gonna get the fix. Okay, anyway, did we get a second? I think we
Yes.
did.
Yep, and we're gonna have a roll,
Thank you.
we're gonna have a roll call vote on this.
Shaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Adair,
Yes.
Barzak,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Belkey.
Saving the best for last. Yes.
Okay, motion's approved. Moving on.
I'm sorry, can you present an addendum later, at some later point?
I don't know, it involves a certain amount of work, maybe there's another public hearing, so it's, I would like to talk with you about it, Mike. Again, we worked with it as is, but these would have clarified stuff. And I'm gonna, could be hit by a bus tomorrow, and Dennis might, get hit by, something else. And you're gonna lose people, and they're gonna,
See,
the
that's
same
why we
problem.
gotta know what you do. If you get hit by that bus, that water department's still gotta
DPW's in
go.
trouble.
it's probably
Yeah, that
a,
was ahead of time.
probably a garbage truck.
So that comes right back to what,
Yeah,
Michelle?
no, it's,
so
we can work with it.
now our budget
I don't know,
amendment,
I have to look at it.
the next item is the budget amendments, and I believe this is our treasurer.
Right, these are the amendments that we needed to make because of the repair on the patrol car. Was the first one, so that'll come out of STI money. We did have to transfer money from their savings to the checking to be able to balance that. And the second one is for the repair on the DPW truck, and that came out of general. I had hoped to have the one for the extension on Simon Street, but I didn't get Paul's response until like this afternoon.
Okay,
So
well,
I'll
we
have
can do
that the
maybe
next
that next meeting or
Right.
something. Or you might wanna wait till the project's complete, because you never know what's gonna come up.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, there
these
might
are
be,
doom and gloom.
there might be lowering the cost, and we have to adjust for that also.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, that does happen.
Do it
Not
so
very
that I
often.
can hold them to the price.
So, can we get a motion on these
Two motion.
two items?
Make a motion to approve the attached budget amendment as presented, which brings the total estimated fund balance for the general fund from $1,617,549.41 to $1,602,585.27.
Support.
I'm gonna give that to Joe,
Yeah.
please.
Okay,
Do you wanna roll, or don't you care? Okay, I'll roll then.
We've
I
already
don't
spent
need
the
a roll on
money,
this,
so.
do I?
No.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Okay,
One second.
Yes.
oh yeah, we gotta do the other one.
I would make a motion to approve the attached budget amendment as presented, which brings the total estimated fund balance for the
Salvage.
salvage title inspections fund from $194,900 to $188,920.38.
Support.
Motion by Ross, supported by Dare.
Mhm.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Okay, welcome to Armada signs.
Okay, the only reason this is coming to council, because it was approved in the budget, I mean, we would have talked about it prior to, but, because there's lease agreements that we're making up for the residents whose property the signs are on, so we can have, like, access to them without, an issue. We've talked in the past about the one on the north that is located at the township park, so it's north of Center Road. Ross had expressed an interest about bringing that into the village limits rather than being out there. 3 of these are ready to go, that one is not, and the reason being is because, we were under the impression for a while that that property is actually village property, that it's, you guys know where it's at.
Where the stagecoach is.
Yeah, yeah. It is not, actually, that side of Fulton Street from Prospect to Wansley's house, which most of you guys know where that is,
Yeah,
to that area is township. So the actual, that east-west side of the road, whatever, isn't even in the village, which is ridiculous to me. But, so from
West side
going,
of Fulton is not in the village.
that section.
Yes.
So in order for us to put a sign there, we would not go to the homeowner of that property. We would have to go to the county or to the township. And since the township doesn't own the road, you'd have to go to the Department of Roads. So at some point, I mean, not at tonight's meetings, but we've got to figure out what route, I mean, if you're really interested in moving the sign, then that's how we'll go forward. We'll contact the Department of Roads, give them the same license agreement that we're presenting everybody else. But if we're not really interested in pursuing it, we'll just send the letter to the township because it's on their property. So,
Here's the dilemma.
that's where we're at.
Here's a dilemma. So, the police chief some time ago had a bunch of signage, a bunch of brush, branches, hiding the signage that we do have on that side of the road. We do have, depending upon how you count them, it's either 4 stanchions with 12 signs, or 3 stanchions with 10 signs already on there that are village signs.
Not on
Or
that
village.
piece of property though. You
Not
just mean on that side.
specifically
Okay, I
on
was gonna
that.
say.
But they're along that stretch, which is privately owned. So the chief went to the township. Township said, we don't own any roads.
They don't.
Let's go to the county. County said, not our road to maintain, the village maintains that road.
Only
So
because we have.
Comes down to a right-of-way issue. The DPW does maintain anything that's in the right-of-way on that side of the street, which includes this piece of property.
And actually, the resident came in and asked, why the heck is anybody touching that? That's my property.
It's, well,
You know,
it's.
And
So
he's,
we're not
and
gonna
he's,
do it
and he's
anymore.
accurate, so
Yeah.
we won't be doing that anymore, except for to maintain around the guardrail. Because the guardrail,
Okay.
you
Well,
have to.
technically, and and so this is where Jeff came in, I think you were there in that conversation, it's been a couple months. But Jeff said, yes, 30 feet on either side of the right-of-way is ours to maintain. So the sign would be in that 30.
But when I explained to Jeff that that road is not in the village, he said, oh, all right, no, then it's not
We
yours to
talked
maintain.
about that.
thought
So-
So we're gonna plow the road on the west side?
No, we're gonna
and-
maintain the road, we're just not gonna, we're not going to maintain somebody else's property.
We're not trying to, it's just,
Yeah,
it's
why?
all along that 30-foot right-of-way that technically we do need to maintain, and we've got signage there, and we
Right.
clear the brush around the guardrails, and
I
that's
don't-
part of
well, All right,
Part of
so
the problem.
those types of signs are different than moving the Welcome to Armada sign from where it's at to that
the, agreed,
section.
yes, they are.
So whatever DPW does with that is their business, I'm out of it, it's just when it comes to these legal documents.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to pursue moving the sign there, or are you comfortable with where it's at?
I'd find
I'm
another-
pretty comfortable with where it's at myself.
That's where we stand, so I just don't, right now, cause Ross and I had
Well-
talked,
What I would suggest, sorry to interrupt, what I would suggest is, if it's gonna be great consternation and it's gonna cause a guy heartburn, I'd say, don't do that, let's look for another spot.
well,
And,
you're getting pretty far into the village if you go.
well, I know, there's not a
So,
lot of
right.
space there, but why have a welcome to the Village of Armada sign if it's gonna be where half the people can't see it?
Well,
But it's a dilemma, so I just.
anybody entering off of Center onto Spencer Street doesn't see a Welcome to Armada
No,
sign.
that's
I
true,
mean,
too. It's-
that can be said for any area of,
Yeah, we're trying to
that we're
Put them on
doing.
the 4 entrance ways.
So,
But I'd say let's take a look at it and hold off
It's up
on
to you
it,
guys.
on the letter to that guy, that's all.
Okay, so
hang
we're
on.
good?
Yeah, don't leave this hanging, because this is a conversation that Ross and I have, and I wanna know what you guys think. If you're comfortable with where it's at, then it's a dead issue. If you're not, then it's gonna take a lot more figuring out where do we wanna place it? Who do we have to do a license agreement with?
Okay,
Are we gonna move it? Are we gonna leave it?
well, let me,
That's why it's on the agenda tonight.
okay.
Yeah.
Who's comfortable with where it's at right now, over there in the township? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
So then I will take care of the other three. I've got the
I think
license
you
agreements
should
ready to go.
also say where it is and where you wanna move it,
I
so
don't-
that anybody
yeah.
watching understands, moving it from where?
No, we're good,
I don't-
we're talking
Or
about
you
leaving
talking
it
about-
where it's
I
at.
don't know why it hurts to take another meeting and go look and see if there's any other village property that's not close to the right of way. There may be,
Excuse me.
to
Why
put
is
it
it
at,
so
just so it gets the
unvisible?
greatest visibility.
Cause it's on the other side of Center Road.
It's on the other side of Center, so in other words, it's on North Avenue up from,
You know where it's
Center.
at, Joe, you were on ACTA.
and if you're
Yeah,
coming
just
on
wanna
Center,
do.
and Center's heavily trafficked, if you're trying to make a statement and keep a sign out there so half the people don't see it, then you're defeating the purpose. I just say,
Yeah.
let's see if there's another spot, and if there
Wrong side.
isn't, then keep it there. Simple. But
Yeah.
give me another meeting to take a look. you know,
It seems
see
like
what-
that's a good spot.
It's just that it's not as visible as we would like it. And it is in the township, and now it's,
Well, it would be in the
Trees are all
township on
over the
that piece
top
of
of it and
property
stuff
too,
like
because
that.
it's
Yeah.
a township.
give me another week to take a look at it.
Okay, do we wanna end this issue tonight, or do you wanna give Ross 2 more weeks?
I'd say let him take the extra time till next meeting. Not like.
Not good,
that
we're
You
not
good with that?
They've been there for 30 years,
Yeah.
40 years, so it doesn't matter tonight.
But we can still approve the 3 letters that you've got.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
that was, again, because it's an agreement, I'm not comfortable doing that on my own. You guys need to know what's going on, so.
So,
We need a motion.
The motion's
Yeah.
on there, yeah.
All right, I'll make the motion to resolve to approve the resident letters and the license agreement and allow the clerk to send as presented.
Support.
Support. Joe.
all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved?
And just so you know, the DTE, because one's on DTE's property,
Yeah.
I called Phil Whitman, if you remember, he's come to council before. I have to send it to him, he will present it to the powers that be at DTE to get it approved, but there's no, address to send it to.
So,
Just a clarity question, so, Dave's gonna have to figure out then what he maintains and what he doesn't.
well, I mean,
He's gonna want,
somebody of authority should probably tell him what to maintain and what not to maintain.
probably Steve, I
And it's
mean,
not me.
We'll talk to him about that.
okay. It's
Yeah,
just-
after his
'cause he'll be
vacation.
Yeah, when he
conflicted.
gets home, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve and I, maybe talk to him. Okay, now, and I think this is your item, Steve, the grant writer guidelines.
Yeah. And just received some information from Ross tonight. The only reason I bring this up, we got this grant writer, and I think of grants as being going after road stuff, water stuff, sewer stuff, very expensive stuff that is hard for us to pay for. And the only reason I brought it up is, I think it should be brought to council, whoever commissioner wants to do something that everybody buys into, yeah, that's a good thing to go after, so everybody knows what's going on. That's all.
I think
And I-
that's a great
And I
idea.
say, look at this for the next meeting,
I
and
guess
see if we think of anything else, but I think right now, again, the person should let council know what they want, and then, it gets
Well,
approved or not approved.
I
and
think
Go ahead.
all commissioners, if you wanna do something, which, you know, in your department, that's something different or something, it still should come to the council first. As a commissioner, you're an overseer of that department. You know, like if you're the police commissioner, you don't get to carry a gun and arrest people.
And a badge.
You're a go-between,
Yes.
you're a go-between between the council and that department, you know.
You're not at work.
All right, let me, just a couple comments. So, I don't wanna get into this, a lot, but, the grant writer initiative was intended for communities to extend their reach and provide them writers to research, develop, and fund through grants, local, municipal, and civic initiatives. So, the issue with the one that I was working on is probably a civic issue. Already talked to Michelle about this stuff a long time ago, doesn't wanna get involved in, website stuff, and so I was trying to steer clear of that. Because we park the money here, and ostensibly in my mind, it's for streets, road, water, sewer,
Police.
parks,
Police.
police.
You
for any
gotta
of that.
understand, municipal funds are very, very restricted.
The-
We don't,
Other-
there's no parking money.
I'm not working on
If
anything.
if
with
that money's given to the village, like by the 4 counties for
Oh, I see. what you're saying.
specific purpose, okay, it's gotta be a village, it's gotta be village. We can't spend money on private things.
For community.
Romeo, in my city, Dryden, Almont, and the village of Armada got grants because somebody in those municipalities worked to get the grant. The money is available for municipal and civic, but I understand what you're saying. It was my decision to park the money here. I could have parked the money elsewhere and done other things.
If you were gonna use it outside of the village, you should have parked it somewhere.
I'm
And
trying
our lawyer told you not to do it
I
that
know,
way.
but Jeff didn't talk to me, so you guys had.
We all talked in my office.
He was not there, so he didn't tell me anything. You guys had a meeting afterwards, I wasn't invited, so, but again, I don't wanna belabor that because the money was put here and it's ostensibly for municipal action,
Oh.
so I don't have an issue.
No, you weren't invited because the treasurer was brought in and Jeff told the treasurer not to pay with village funds to an, like,
Yeah,
we
and
know.
I
Yeah.
have paid because I'm not gonna leave a 20-year-old college student standing out there, haven't done work and not get paid. So I paid it. It was 5 hours of work at $100, and so I paid it. So now it's a dead issue. I do not have a problem bringing stuff to council. We're gonna lose the money if we don't start doing grant work. So it is village money, and it's village money to lose. I'm trying to keep the grant writer
well,
working.
we've been doing grants. You got something going yourself.
I've got more to come, and Amy's working on it
Yeah.
and stuff like that too.
That's
So,
what we thought that money was for.
well,
I got a
It's-
grant for the park.
we've had some communication discussions tonight. There's another one where I talked to council about it, I went through it, there was not one single question.
I think
What was
we
the money,
changed your
why was
story.
it there, what we're gonna use it for, I kind of talked to you about it. nobody said anything. Amy had picked up at a subsequent meeting and said, I'd like some help. Sure.
I thought the grant writer was gonna be looking for grants, that's what I,
Well, they
that's what I
are,
guess,
but
that's what I thought.
You don't want them to be unguided missiles, they need to be.
No, but I mean, look for
working
streets, look
under
for
it.
sewer, look
Right,
for,
yeah.
you know, but then talk to the commissioner, hey, I found this grant, will this work for you?
She
Kinda like the engineers do, you
I
know,
spoke
sometimes.
with her and she told me she was gonna keep an eye open for
Right,
grants for
of
me.
course,
But
yeah.
I do have like about 3 different things that I'm working on for next year because we've passed the deadlines for those.
Yeah.
So we can't do anything right now.
Right,
But,
well, it's all time sensitive.
yeah, all right, so I'm
Right.
working on it.
Yeah, anyway, it's, in my mind, I understand what you're talking about, and I don't have an issue with it. It makes sense to me that if it's under the village, then the village decides what it wants to do with the money. Other municipalities are doing civic things, I'm just telling you that.
But it's in their DDA, right?
Could be,
Yes,
could
I
be.
bet it's in their DDAs. Yeah.
could very well be, and we don't have an active DDA at the moment.
Again, we took it to the attorney when this,
Yeah, he knows.
you know,
Yep.
Well, Jeff's the same guy that told me these other things for the zoning ordinance were wrong, and it's,
I-
somebody
Yeah.
sat down and
we're not
talked
gonna
with me
pick on
about
Jeff.
it, and you might see it's different.
Right, not here.
No,
Anyway, I don't,
we took it to the attorney so we would handle it properly.
I got it.
Okay, now, do we have any upcoming agenda items?
maybe, possibly, I don't know.
Nothing other than what we've
Oh,
already
just,
spoken?
I'm gonna bring you back a sign recommendation, the recommendation maybe to keep it at the township park. I'll take a look, see what we got.
Boy, we have short-term
Okay.
memory loss.
Okay. Moving on then. Any more citizen comments?
Thank you for approving Armada again. Come on out, it'll be fun. If you have a classic car you wanna put at the parade, or if you wanna make a float, put it at the parade. Or if you wanna do a 5K run, personally, I don't run unless I'm on fire. We can play zombie tag. Vinkers is gonna do their trunk or treat that day. And Brewfest. There'll be an art show down at the Armada Armory. I was gonna say Grooming Board and then Armory, but thank you. There's so much hoopla going on, we won't know what to do with ourselves.
You'll be busy.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
I might mention there's about 4 or 5 different events going on that weekend. I know the Congregational Church Chicken
Chicken
Dinner.
Chicken dinners on Sunday, the big doings with the Historical Society
At the Grange Hall,
in the Grange Hall.
Methodist,
I don't think
craft
that's,
show.
is that, oh, the crash, don't they have a chicken dinner coming up to the Methodist Church?
They
It
just
was-
did
Now,
it.
there's-
Yeah, they did it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Just
So-
to keep this
And then
in
the Sunday
order, we're
after
not in
that, you got-
community events. This
No.
is citizens' comment, this is the citizens' time to speak.
It was a
And now, do you have anything more you'd like to add,
Well, more
Carolyn?
than very. Also, I'd just like to say, Ross, do you need a kitten between the tornadoes and getting hit by a bus? I'm worried about it.
Dark today.
I got a dog, Tipper the Ripper, that does a number on me, so.
Are there any other citizen comments? Okay, council comments.
I'd like to say, I'm sure you guys all know that we lost a former DPW employee in a tragic accident a week ago. I just want to say, I'm sorry for his family. He's a very wonderful person, and it's tragic. So,
Thank you for that. Community events now,
I mean, again,
well, our next council.
Knights of Columbus Tootsie Roll.
The next meeting is what? It's
It's
after
after.
Armada
It
again.
is, yeah.
So, we got Armada again, what,
Knights
the
of
12th?
Columbus.
Is it
12.
the 12th? That weekend is also the Tootsie Roll
Tootsie Roll.
Drive.
Yeah.
Congregational chicken.
What about the homecoming parade?
That's
Very
right. Oh,
good.
that's this Friday.
Friday.
Yeah,
Oh,
homecoming
see,
parade
Stacy?
is this Friday.
Already got the stuff up for you.
But this starts at 2, right?
No, what are you talking about?
Homecoming parade.
No, it's at
No,
4.
It's usually at
4:35.
4,
I think the
4:30.
parade's at like 4, 4:30 or 5.
Yeah. A lot of community events, okay. We have no closed session, so I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn the meeting at 7:50 and 10 seconds.
Support.
Okay, 10 seconds is up.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Bye.
Meeting's adjourned.